Ana Bellinghausen, Allie Sczech joining you now. Allie, it's probably been a little bit of a whirlwind for
Mhm.
you. Explain the past week and kind of what's gone through your mind throughout this process.
Yeah, definitely tons of emotions, but super duper grateful. I mean, the opportunity to be at Nebraska is just a once in a lifetime opportunity, and so I'm really excited for it. Obviously, I know with Coach Cook leaving and then Danny coming, it was kind of like a crazy 15 minutes for Nebraska fans for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm super excited and can't wait to be there. And yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, it's opened up the opportunity for you to choose another program if you wish. Why did you still want to stay with Nebraska knowing Danny Busboom Kelly is going to be the head coach?
I mean, I think obviously I committed to Cook, but I think that the legacy he's left at Nebraska is obviously one of a kind. And Danny, I personally know from my recruiting process in the past, and so her coming in was like, oh my gosh, for a second it was so oh, don't leave, but then it's like, oh my gosh, what a great opportunity, and I wouldn't want to play for anyone else to continue the legacy at Nebraska. And I just think that, I mean, she sounded on a lot of the same principles as him, culture, players were people before we're players, and so I really thought that was good. And then yeah, I mean, obviously committing to Nebraska, you do commit to Cook and his legacy and all the great things he's done, but you also commit to the players and the school and the culture and all of those things, which I really enjoyed too. So honestly, it really did nothing but make me even more excited because he's still going to be around and she's involved. I mean, it was kind of honestly, all the stars aligned. And I felt like it was one of those things that it's you didn't see coming, but was such a blessing. But yeah.
Mhm. So, what stood out to you initially when you
Mm.
entered into the transfer portal and started to look towards Nebraska?
Yeah, I mean, my transfer portal process was a little crazy, which I'm sure most people know now. But yeah, I mean, a big thing I was looking for was a grad program for journalism. And so I wanted to find something that if it wasn't sports broadcasting directly, it was directed towards that and it was kind of broad. So I ended up loving the program at Nebraska. And then obviously the volleyball and the culture and that aspect of it, I really enjoyed. And I mean, to be honest, Cook is great. Is obviously him leaving is sad, but he's great and he's built such a great foundation there. And so, I mean, it was honestly the best of both worlds for me. And I was like, honestly, why not? This is perfect volleyball situation, perfect master's program that's willing to work with me in season, which is I mean, your journalism major, it's tough, especially going out, getting stories, things like that. It's not necessarily the most easy thing to do on the road. And so I think having a program that's willing to accommodate and willing to still make me successful in that realm of life was something I was really looking for. And I
Mhm.
mean, Nebraska had the full package deal. So yeah.
So, from the outside perspective, what was your impression of Nebraska and the fans and how much
Mhm.
this state loves volleyball?
I mean, it's obviously you see it on social media, you see the press conferences, you see all the things. And honestly, I mean, I remember just on TikTok during their senior night week, seeing all of their press conference videos and Merritt's speech and kind of just everybody's say on it. And honestly, it isn't hard to know, even from afar, that the culture is so important there and they're building something so much bigger than just a volleyball program. It's people that are going to be successful down the road, and even equipping people to be successful in their future in terms of their career and things like that. And I think the principles that Nebraska has, you could see through those interviews and those press conferences. And obviously that stands out. And when you see that in college athletics now, that's the first thing that jumps to your mind. Wow, those people care about you more than just as a player. And so that really caught my attention. And then obviously taking my visit, you go, I went there and I remember people were texting me, hey, you're in Nebraska? I'm like, dude, how do you know that? And I'm like, because people are so invested in the sport, and it's just it's honestly incredible. It's so cool to see that so many people care about volleyball, and especially just the pride at Nebraska. It's truly one of a kind. And I mean, I always heard there's no place like Nebraska, but being in it, there really is no place like Nebraska.
Well, you also got experience the Nebraska cold too.
Oh,
I heard you visited on a pretty chilly day here.
I did. Or basically, what happened? I'm trying to remember. I think Cook, or it was Jalen or Cook, one of the two of them called me and was like, hey, you need to bring some cold gear. You need to bring some layers. And I was like, oh gosh, I'm from Texas, so I'm it don't get very cold here. And so he was like, you need to bring all the whole 9 yards. And I was like, okay. And I remember getting there dude, is it like this all the time? And they're like, no, you literally came on the two coldest days of the year. And I was like, okay, I feel better.
Yeah.
But at first I was like, oh my gosh, Woo!
It gets a lot better from here. Those
Yeah,
are probably two of the worst days that you saw. But hey, you still committed. You
I still
still
did it.
so that says a lot about you. Tell me about the Allie growing up. Was it always volleyball? Was that always the goal for you?
Yeah, so I never really played other sports. Like, I mean, I did like soccer when I was like 12, but I don't really count that. That was kind of like everybody,
Yeah.
just like my parents threw me out there, like, we need to get you in something. So it was kind of soccer and then volleyball. And I honestly didn't really like volleyball. I was like the worst on my team. I was like, I hate this. Like, don't make me go to practice. My dad would like drive me and be like, get out of the car, go to practice. And now I obviously thank him for it. But at the time I was like, oh my gosh, I literally hate this. But I finally like remember like I learned how to serve and I like got a pretty good serve and I was like, okay, wait, like I kind of like this. And so I stuck with it. And obviously like from then on, my dad just kind of like was a big motivator and like my entire volleyball career, like pushed me, like gave you like biggest fan, biggest critic vibes. So he was always there to make sure I was like getting things done. And so from that point on, I kind of fell in love with the sport and just the aspect of like having something to work hard for and continuing to like push the needle every single day and try to get 1% better. I really enjoyed like that aspect of the game. And so I think having my dad there really helped instill it in me that like, yeah, like you're pretty good at this. Like we can make this a thing. And so, yeah.
When did you realize that you were good enough to go D1?
Um, Honestly, like I had some coaches like really early on that were like, "Hey, like I really see potential in you," and like I really credit those people for sure. Like Amanda Watts, like she was like my 14's head coach, and she was like, "Hey, like you could really do something." And so that's kind of when I noticed, like, wow, like if I keep pushing myself and I keep progressing, like I could really do this. And so I think like having someone like that in your life and having good mentors was kind of huge for me, like my dad and her, and I mean tons of other ones back in Houston. And so just having those people I think were really fundamental in me finding out like, hey, like I think I could take this to the next level and I think D1 is in the cards for me.
Mhm. So what was it like committing to a Baylor school? Obviously, you're from Texas. How
Mhm.
special was that experience?
Honestly, like to be so honest, I didn't grow up like knowing a ton about Baylor. Like I got recruited pretty young and I committed pretty young. But I came on my visit here and I really just loved the culture and the coaches and everything the school had to offer, but more specifically the fact that like Jesus is present on this campus and like it's a very like I don't want to say religious because some people don't like that, but Jesus is moving here and I think that was kind of really caught my eye. I didn't really grow up like in a super religious family, but it was God was always there. It was always something that we went to church, but we didn't really have like a necessarily like an individual relationship with God. And so coming to Baylor, I think I was surrounded by a ton of great community that pushed me to know Jesus. And so I think that was something that really caught my eye on my visit and I really thought would be a game changer for me. And it was. So I committed.
Yeah. How would you describe your growth throughout your time at Baylor?
Oh my gosh. Wow. I don't even know where to start. Like first semester Allie would be like, oh my gosh, we're about to graduate. Like there's no way. Cause I remember being like, oh my God, there's no way I'm going to graduate. Like in that calculus class, I was like, oh my God, this is so far away. There's no way. But I mean, obviously like as a player, like I've had so many great coaches here and specifically like Joshua Walker has like poured so much into me and like forever will be grateful for him. And the way that he's helped me develop as a player. And then in terms of school, I've had great professors here that really care about me and want to see me succeed and are willing to help me when I need that help when we're in season and willing to be there for me in the off season. And so I really appreciate that. But most importantly, I would say my faith has moved like mountains for me here and growing in that has really like kept me stable and steady through like the busyness and the up and down of college athletics. And I think, I mean, obviously we all know college athletics is like a roller coaster, but I think having my faith has really helped me steady out and ride the waves. But yeah,
On the court, how would you describe your play for fans that may have not seen you before?
I mean, I would say that I'm like a really hard worker. I'm really gritty. I like always want to win. I like when it's crunch time. I feel like I deliver well when it's crunch time. And so I feel like yeah, I like to just go out there and have fun and like play for the Lord and play for something bigger than myself and just yeah.
When you look at that Nebraska team, is there any certain player that you've played before with or have known prior? I know volleyball can be a small world too.
Mhm. I knew Andy Jackson because she kind of got recruited by Baylor pretty early on, and so I kind of knew her just from like camps and things like that. And it was always kind of cool to like see her progress at Nebraska and see like all the things she's done, like first team All American, and that's I mean that's awesome. And like I would expect nothing less from her. Like she's great person and great player. So yeah.
That's awesome. Have you gotten to get in touch with the girls so far? Have you gotten to chat with them a bit?
Yeah, so on my visit, I hung out with a ton of them. I really connected with like Harper and Bergen a ton, and I love them. But they were all great, and like honestly, like that was a big game changer for me. Is because like you take official visits, and like it's always awkward because it's like you're there, and everybody's like, "Oh, they gotta be all nice to you," like, and it just like felt like home, like right off the bat. Like the girls were super like we connected really easily. It was easy conversations. Like they were so welcoming, and I was like, oh wow, like this feels like I'm already here. And so I was just like, yeah, like this is
Mhm.
definitely my people for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, you're going into it obviously as an experienced veteran player. You want to be a
Mhm.
leader on this team, and you
Agree.
have a chance to be in a starting role with this squad too. What kind of like mindset do you bring into this of wanting to be a leader, but also respecting what's been there before and trying to learn from the girls that have done it too there?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have a lot of respect for their team. Obviously, they've been successful, and especially like Merritt. Like, I think like she's just left such a big mark on the program, and like seeing everything from afar, like it's crazy. And like I just think she is such a leader and leads by example and does the right thing when it's hard. And so I think to be able to come in and see someone like just have left the program like that, like God, what a awesome person to try to go and embody and try to live up to. And I think that's honestly a huge thing for me. But a big thing from my situation at Nebraska is I kind of viewed it as like a golden ticket opportunity. Like I get to go there, I get to master in what I want to master in, I get to play the sport I love and potentially win a national championship, which I don't even want to say potentially, we're doing that. And then also just like push people to grow in their faith, push people closer to God. So I think it was a really good opportunity on all sides of the spectrum for me. And so that's why I did it. And like I can't wait to go in there and try to like impersonate people like Merritt and try to be like them and just like leave a mark on the program and not potentially, but leave it better than I found it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned national championship, and that is the goal every year for Nebraska.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not shy to say that every single year. And
Mhm.
Harper's talked openly about it, of like, hey, I got 2 years left. I want to leave this place with a national championship. Has
Mhm.
that been the mindset that you've gone in with and wanted to deliver for this program this year?
Yeah, 1000% yes. Like I would love nothing more to bring it home to Nebraska and bring it home to those girls especially because I mean like I said like they're good players but they're good people too. And so I would want nothing more than to be successful there and to see them be successful too. I mean, coming as a veteran, like I've done this before. I've had my experiences. I've had the really really fun wins and I've had the really really tough losses. And so I think being able to come in and bring that experience and like that leadership aspect of like, hey, like we can do this. Like obviously season is up and down, but I think that like to be able to step into this role and obviously there's a lot of really good players on the team. Like I think it's 1000% in the cards and 1000% could happen. Like
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, I think the day you step on campus, you'll notice that you're going to become a little bit of a celebrity here in the state because of how much everyone here embraces volleyball. Has that sunk in for you of being a role model for young women in Nebraska as well?
Honestly, I didn't really notice it until I committed. Like my phone was blowing up and I was like, wait, what? What's going on? Just coming from like a smaller part of Houston, like I'm not really like used to that, I would say. But I think honestly, I'm really excited to like be a role model for people and potentially like obviously live up to the Nebraska standard and like, make my parents proud, make my hometown proud, like make my friends proud, make God proud, like the whole 9 yards. But I think it's really just a blessing and a great opportunity to like continue to like push the sport forward and like put volleyball on the map. And like, I mean, you see all the things Nebraska's done from the stadium match to the way they sell out games. I mean, there's people that can't get tickets to their matches for like years on end. Like
Yeah.
that's incredible and that's crazy. And I can't wait to be a part of that. And yeah, I mean, like the opportunity I think to be a role model to little girls is like just like a dream, honestly, because I was those little girls not that long ago. And so I know what it's like to look up to someone and be like, oh my God, mom, like I'm scared to ask for a picture. And like just see like I could be in that role is it's awesome and I'm really grateful.
Well, would little Allie believe that she'd be wearing a Nebraska uniform playing volleyball at this level?
Honestly, probably not. I mean, honestly, like to be so fair, if you would have asked me even a few years ago, I probably would have been like, I don't know, like I could do that. That's crazy. But I think just like seeing the way, like I said, I've grown in my faith, I've become a stronger person. I think I've let the trials that I've gone through in college and in high school like really push me closer to God and help develop me as a person. I think like it's it's really exciting and I'm just like really grateful because like to be honest, like little Allie would have just been grateful to like get an opportunity to go anywhere, like just to make the top team type of vibe. And so I think to be able to have an opportunity like this, like I'm so excited, and I'm just really excited to be there and can't wait.
Yeah. Well, Allie, I'll leave you on this. Have you envisioned what it's going to be like running out in Bob Devaney for the first time in front of a sold out crowd?
Yes, I have. I mean, walking in the gym and seeing how big it was, and how even like Coach Cook wanted to make it bigger. And he told, or Jalen told us that, like, he was like, dang, he wishes he would have made it bigger because
Yeah.
so many people come. And so, yeah, I think walking in there, like, it was like in awe. I mean, to be able to like even be in that gym, and I can't wait to be in there in the fall and see all those stands packed and everyone in there, and it's super loud, and I can't wait to be a part of such a great environment, and I can't wait to dream big. But yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Allie, thank you so much for the time, and we can't wait to see you this season.
Thank you. All right, I'll see y'all soon.